Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to WKT's Backstage. I'm your host, Miss Sissi Thompson. I'm so excited about today's show. We've got our commissioner, Mr. Whitney-John Stuart, coming on board and giving us a little bit of news about the genre challenges that he presented last week. And guess what? I'm going to be announcing a really fun show that we've got coming up next week. Today on Tea Time, I've got Talent Quest own Timothy Fitzgerald and Nicol Kastor. And guys, for our big interview, somebody that's very special to me, Mr. Trevor Keller. So make sure you grab a beverage, grab a comfortable blanket, and curl up, and let's go backstage. Hey, y'all. Well, I tell you, I've got so much to tell you. I am so excited about today's show. But you know what? Let me tell you a little bit about what's been going on this week. Well, actually, I'll just show you to give you an idea. Next week, I'm going to Florida. Yes. I'm going to sunny Florida, my home state. Going to Orlando. Michael's competing in a national ballroom competition. I don't know if I've ever said that before on the show, but Michael is a professional ballroom dance coach. So he's got several of his students that compete at a national level. So we're going down for the Orange Blossom dance. Don't that sound Southern, y'all? I love that. But I get to see some of my musical family, and I'm so excited. And my bestie Jeff is going to be there. I'm going to get to see Talent Quest people and Christopher. Y'all remember Christopher was the Arkansas State Director. He's flying in to see us. And I heard that maybe Parnell might be coming. Duncan's already there. And, Anthony's going to Florida, but we're going to miss him by a week. And I'm just so excited. I'm getting packed, and we are going to actually film while we're on the road. So it's going to be like a real road trip, and y'all are going to come along with me, and we're going to have so much fun. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to see me in my bikini. Maybe. No, I won't. I won't do that. I don't want to lose the viewers, or maybe that would gain viewers. Maybe I'll do the bikini show. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, let's get backstage. And here we are at the top of the news, and we are so thrilled to have WKT's own Commissioner Whitney-John Stuart, and we are going to begin talking about some updates and a little bit about what WKT's 2021 touring season has got to offer with the announcement of the genre challenges last week. So here he is. How are you doing, Whitney, and what have you got to tell us?
I'm doing very good, Sissy. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Yes, to everybody at home, if you did not see last week's show or the announcements, we are moving forward with our 2021 tournament schedule, and we have not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 events planned for our spring and summer schedule. And we're doing something very, very different, never been done before. We're doing a genre championship series. Now, if you go to worldkaraoketour.com right now and go to our events section, you'll be able to see all of these amazing tournaments that we have on. And we're going to be starting off with the first ever WKT Country Championship. So basically, if you love country music, this is the tournament for you. So all you got to do is go to the events section. You click on the 2021 WKT Country Championship. It'll give you all the information on basically how you get involved with the tournament. The deadline for registration entry is this coming Friday, June 4th. So you've got to get at least your registration entry in there. The deadline for videos is the following week on June 11th. So very, very important. Get your entry in by this Friday, and then your videos are in the following week. And that's how basically the rest of this tournament schedule is going to go. We're going to have the Inspirational Championship, which is Christian or gospel music, or basically anything that inspires you as a performer to sing. That is our next championship. After that, we have the Rock Championship, followed by the first ever WKT Musical Championship, and the big one at the end of our spring-summer season, the WKT Pop R&B Championship. So each one of these is specifically designed and built for singers who want to get involved with those specific type of genres. But if you like a challenge, you can get involved with all of them. And for a very, very special price, at the very top of the event section, you'll see it. We actually have an all access pass that will get you into all 5 of those tournaments for a significantly discounted price. So each one of those events runs about $20. But for the all access pass, we're actually giving you 15% off of everything. So if you want to be involved in all 5 tournaments, you can go to the website, click on all events pass. And actually we have already about 5 or 6 people who have clicked onto that pass and are doing all 5 tournaments. So it's really exciting. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. And I know we have a lot of musical theater people that want to get involved with competitive singing, and they've just really haven't had that opportunity to shine as well as the pop or the rock or even the country singers. So I think this really gives everybody their niche to kind of shine and really try and find the best of the best in each one of those categories. And then we'll all come back together later on this year as we get set up for the North American Open and then eventually the World Championships at the end of the year. So I implore everybody who has been involved in competitive singing in the past, whether you've been a TQ, KWC, or a WKT person, or iSing, or any one of the other smaller events, to please come. Bring your talent. Let it shine here on this platform, and we're going to find the best of the best from each one of these genres.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, I'm really excited to see everybody come out. I might even throw my hat into 1 or 2 of those categories and see how much fun. I might do that. We might see. You know, Whitney, we just want to say thank you so much from all of us competitors for giving us a stage, even in the midst of all of this stuff. You've done a great job, and we all really appreciate it. So, guys, you've heard it right from the top. Make sure that if you're competing in the country competition, the deadline is this Friday. So make sure you go to worldkaraoketour.com events and get signed up. Whitney, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sissi.
Hey, it's time to sip a little tea with me. And guess who I have on today? I am so excited. I've been trying to get her on here for weeks. It is Talent Quest Florida's own Nicol Kastor, and joining us to sip a little tea about what's going on in the world of TQ, Mr. Timothy Fitzgerald. How are you both doing?
Doing wonderful.
Can't complain. It's a beautiful day.
Well, I tell you, Tim, I have watched you in Talent Quest so much. I love you, your performance, the way you handle a song. It's just a joy to watch you perform. And I've actually enjoyed having you on board with us on some of the stuff that we've done here in WKT virtual stage world in the last year. You've been a fantastic competitor to get to know. And of course, Nicol, I've got to share with everybody, Nicol was my very first state director ever in the world of competitive singing. She was the Florida state director for me when I was on Talent Quest stage back in 2015. And she taught me so much in such a short amount of time. So I'm so thrilled to have both of you here. I want to talk a little bit today quickly about the upcoming season. Talent Quest is live and we are headed straight to the Tropicana in Laughlin. And actually it's going to be my very first time at Talent Quest international level. So I'm excited to spend some time with both of you. Nicol, tell me a little bit about what's going on in Florida right now as far as Talent Quest.
Well, as far as we're going, I just literally got another local venue on board this morning. We've got 2 local venues that have already done their competitions and have sent they've sent 11 and 9. So I've got take that back. Yeah, no, it was 11 and 8. I think it was. So I have that many already in my regional contest qualified. I've got about 6 more locals, 7 more locals that are around the state and still going on and getting ready to send their qualifiers as well. My only hitch is nailing down that regional venue. But we should have it done this week.
Well, you know what? I totally feel you on that. We had our state sponsor for the last few years with everything we've been involved with, which was Tequila Cowboys. They closed down because of the pandemic. The only one has opened up in Nashville. So I totally feel you on that. It's been tough. Corona May needs to just get on down the road because it has made things very difficult for us. Timothy, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, from a competitor's point of view. I know we offer here at Talent Quest the self-sponsor option, which may actually work for people that are unable to keep up as far as the qualifying circuit and going to regionals. But I wanted to get your viewpoint on a contestant, from a contestant's point of view, as far as getting ready for Laughlin, heading to Tropicana. Give us an idea of, as a contestant qualifying versus a contestant who is going to self-sponsor, what should they be prepared for?
Qualifying can be quite a task, but my recommendations, and this is stuff that I've gotten from Nicol and other people, because she again was my first person in Talent Quest that I met, and basically you just need to get out there and sell it. Don't worry about what people are thinking, because if your mindset is there, you're going to be hindered by what you can actually do. So you get out there, you sell it, costumes, performance, and vocals. I mean, those are the big 3 things. If you don't have those, it's going to be kind of tough. But again, don't let anything disturb you. Go for it. And an old friend of mine that we lost a couple of years back, Canty Brevard, he's basically the one that basically told me, don't let anything get in your way. He says, because you can be your own worst enemy. Don't. And I think it was that year that I think I wound up in Oklahoma City, and I wound up placing 3rd in the Masters. So I was, it was a great year, and I miss him so much.
It's so funny that you say that, because I was actually thinking of him in Joy the other night. And Canty was one of the first people that came to me that year at Talent Quest in Florida. And he came up to me and he introduced himself. He introduced Joy. And he said, you know what? He said, you're doing a great job. He said, I know you're nervous. He said, he goes, but we're all family. He said, so just get out there, he said, and let's have a great show. And I've always remembered that advice. And you know what? He was 100% spot on, because even in the midst of all of this craziness that we've all been through in this last year, I don't think I would have made it had it not been for all of you guys, my musical family. We kept in touch via social media. We competed some virtually, and it all comes back also to you, Nicol. I remember that weekend, you taught me so much. So I want to ask you this from a director's standpoint. what do the competitors need to be looking towards at this stage of the game, whether they're competing there, earning their right to go, or they're self-sponsoring? What's the difference in that? Are they going to be treated the same once they get to Laughlin? Give us a little bit from your viewpoint as a director, what the competitors need to be prepared for.
Oh, well, the number one, first and foremost, to have a good time. If you're not having a good time, you're not going to get it all out on the stage. And as far as the competitors go, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that can't get to one of our local qualifiers to go on to, you know, whether it be time or, you know, at the local or time for the regional. And we understand that. So we do provide, even at my level, to self-sponsor into the contest, either regionally or nationally, internationally. So it gives you a good outlet to do that. But everybody is the same. Everybody's going into the same contest with the same information, the same, you know, wherewithal. And as far as I'm concerned, I always tell everybody the same thing. You have to put the entire package together. It doesn't matter if you won your way there or if you didn't. Nobody, once you step foot on that international stage, everything's an even playing field. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Many people that have won the state and they go out to the international and get beat by the person that self-sponsored. Well, one in particular that I always use every time I say something like this. She was in 14th place at our regional contest, nowhere close to the top 10 even. And she went out there and she ended up on the top 5 stage at the international, where my regional winner did not. So it is one day and a panel full of judges.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that every time you go somewhere else. So
Absolutely.
nerves kick. You might, well, you know, it's all subjecture, you know. You do what you can, you leave it all on the stage, and from there, you know, it's up to someone else.
Absolutely. What were you going to say, Timothy?
You never know if you're going to have a good day or a bad day. I mean, it's just what happens at the moment. You know, you can get up there and think, I'm going to have a great thing, and you get out there and you're going along, and all of a sudden the voice cracks, and you're like, okay, but I'm going to keep going. I'm not that that's ever happened to me, right? But you just got to keep going and get through it, and don't let them see it out there, because I think the judges can see it in your face if you're like, oh damn, what just happened?
Agreed.
You go on, you go like nothing ever happened, and just go with it.
Absolutely. The show must go on, right? For sure.
Yep.
Well, you know, with everything that we've been through in the last, 12 to 18 months with Corona May, what a better statement. The show must go on. And that's exactly what us and the folks are doing here at Talent Quest and WKT and all the other competitions. We're moving forward as a musical family. Guys, I want to say thank you so much. Thanks for being patient. We were running a little bit late, but thanks so much for joining me on Tea Time. I hope you guys will both come on in the next couple of months as we're all working our way towards Nevada. I think the world of both of you. And again, thanks so much for taking the time to join me today. The show must go on, folks. Talent Quest is heading to Laughlin, Nevada. We'll hope you join us. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Sissi.
Bye.
Hello, it's WKT World Champion Miriam Kim, and you're watching Backstage with the divine Miss Sissi Thompson.
I'm already getting emotional. I am so excited about today's big interview. To say that this person has dramatically impacted my life would be an understatement. I want to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome one of my favorite people on this planet, Trevor Keller. Trevor, how are you?
I'm great, Sissy. How are you? Other than being beautiful as always.
Thank you so much. It is, when you came on for the pre-show, when we were talking, it was just so good. I mean, I see your face on Facebook all the time, but just to see your face live was just amazing. It's been so good to see your face this afternoon.
Oh, and now, of course, my daughter is going to start barking in the background.
That makes it even more real. I love it.
Yes.
You know, you and I met, oh gosh, now we're going into years. I can't say we met last year or year before. We met in 2015. I was just coming out of Talent Quest, and someone said to me, you know what, Sissy, you really need to go try out for KWC. And I did not know what that was. I had never competed in karaoke competitions until TQ. And they said, contact Trevor Keller. And I contacted you. And from that moment on, a friendship was forged. And from that moment on, I mean, I had a coach, I had a mentor, I had a state director, but above all that, I had just an amazing friend. And I'll never forget, I look back on that and I'm filled with happiness and just absolute joy. And I just want to say 2 words to you. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And you don't even know this, but before you even contacted me, I had heard about you in Talent Quest the year before and saw your performances. And I was like, okay, I'm getting this girl. As I saw in you what I was looking for in a person, in a friend, in a performer, and the talent was just amazing. And I knew the things that you could do, and you have far exceeded that.
Well, and what nobody knew at that time, but you knew, Trevor, after we came back from KWC, Brian Scott reached out to me and wanted me and Jeffrey and Trevor to join him down on the East Coast in Florida at Lauderdale. They have an amazing Pride event down there. And Trevor and me and Jeffrey and Daryl, we all kind of talked about it, and we loaded up and we went down there. And coming back, Trevor and I actually got to share a road trip together coming back. Do you remember that trip?
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about everything. And at that time is when I kind of told him, you know, my personal life, my marriage fallen apart. And just that year, 2015, I know everybody last year with the pandemic and everything is a year that will always stay in everybody's mind, understandably so. But 2015 was a year for me that God showed up for me and put some amazing people in my life. And we just went on one hell of a journey, all of us together. And I remember at our state finals when they announced Jeffrey and I. Jeffrey won for Florida for the males, I won for the females. And I had not flown in years. And I almost couldn't even enjoy the win because I knew at that moment I was going to have to fly. And we went on that flight to Little Rock together, and it was a bumpy ride, honey, let me tell you. And y'all were all just laughing, thought it was the funniest thing. And we just had so much fun. And then here we came to Little Rock and we met Whitney and everything. And I'm going to tell you that honestly, I was bit by the bug. And we just had so much fun with everybody. I have tears streaming down my face. I'm just so much fun. It was the worst of years for me in many ways, but if somebody's that to me, it was just the best of years. You know, I know you pretty well, and some of us know about your past, but I would definitely be remiss if we did not talk a little bit about you and the history of you. You're not from Florida. Kind of take us back a little bit and tell us where you're from and how you kind of got bitten by the creative bug, the thespian bug, the music bug. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Well, as a child, I'm a very introverted person, and I know anybody who has ever met me is going to be like, Trevor, introverted? You got to be kidding. But I was born Peter Keller, and stayed that way until college. My mother took me to auditions. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a town that has a beautiful old Fulton Opera House that was from the Civil War era. And my mother would take me to auditions because I guess she saw in me, when I was putting on shows in our living room, the talent that I had. And she said, he needs to be on stage. Well, I would have to run to the bathroom every 2 or 3 minutes before I got up on stage for auditioning, and I hated it. But then I finally got a role, and I started performing. And at that time, they believed that to be an effective entertainer, you needed to know every aspect. So if you were going to be an actor, you also had to build sets, you had to do lights, you had to do everything involved so that you could appreciate the actors that were on stage and appreciate the work that was done for you to be on stage. So at an early age, I started performing in theater. I was singing, I was playing instruments in the band. I tried football, that didn't work out so well, so I kept to the entertainment. Got through high school, would do shows at school, come home, eat dinner, go to the Fulton for rehearsal for a show later that evening. Got into college, to make a long story short, and pretty much became an entertainer throughout my entire college education and helped to pay my way through my college years. At the end of my college days, I was approached by somebody that offered me the opportunity to move from Pittsburgh to Indianapolis to become a male dancer and live singer in my shows as well. And here I was, 6'5", $175 at the most. And I'm thinking, wait a sec, aren't male dancers usually really bulked up and hunky? That certainly wasn't me. But he saw something in me. And so I moved to Indianapolis and I started working out in a gym, became a fitness instructor, and then started dancing at a club, at a male strip club in the evening. And that's how I made my living. At that time, I then got involved in male competitions. I became first runner-up Mr. Indianapolis, or Mr. Indiana, went on to become Mr. Gay Gulf Coast All-American out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and competed for Mr. All-American in Kentucky. During that time, I went down to New Orleans to give up my title, and a storm hit the Gulf of Mexico, and this was in March. Well, I'm on the tip of the Gulf of Mexico in March, thinking this is my first adult vacation, and it snows. So what was I to do? I headed south. I came down to Florida, and that was the end of it. We were on the beach in our swimsuits and flip-flops. I saw a hotel was advertising for night auditors and front desk clerks. And we walked in just to get the application. And they said, the owner's son's here interviewing. Why don't you go ahead and interview? And I said, we're in our shorts and flip-flops. They said, you're in Florida, it doesn't matter. So we did. And by the time we got back to Tampa where we were staying, he had already called and said, we want to hire both of you. When can you start? I said, I need 2 days to drive back to Indiana, 2 days to pack, 2 days to drive back down, a day off, and we'll start in a week. And we did. So once I got to Florida, worked in the hotel industry, but of course the theater bug was already in me. So I started getting back involved in theater. ended up opening my own theater company, professional LGBT oriented professional theater company here in town, and had met a gentleman who was writing for one of our local papers, and he would do reviews or do articles on my shows. And at one point, his partner and I, and we had a friend in common who ended up committing suicide. And so we went to his memorial service. And so I was talking to these guys, and they were very upset, A, about losing their close friend, but also the fact that they were having a singing competition that weekend, and he was supposed to be their head judge.
Oh, wow.
And me being raised the way I was, I said, well, if there's anything I can do to help, please feel free to reach out. So the next morning I got a call and the gentleman that called me said, well, first I want to let you know that this is a karaoke contest. It's the state karaoke contest for Florida. Well, I had had 35 years of opera and classical vocal performance training. And when I heard karaoke, I just about dropped the phone because all I knew at the time of karaoke was going out to dark, seedy bars with a bunch of drunk people that sang very badly. And I thought, if I'm going to have to listen to this for an entire weekend, I'm going to go bonkers. But I went to the competition in Tampa, Florida. And at that time, our state contest was pulling about 250 to 300 contestants. And I was just blown away by the level of competition. And nobody was not, well, I shouldn't say nobody. Most of the contestants were not getting totally drunk. And most of them were singing very, very well. And they were actually coming off of a year where they had had their first national champion. And so he was there performing. And I was with them for, I believe, about 6 years. I started as a judge that first year at the state level. Shortly after that, I got a call from the state director, and he said, hey, the national director saw your headshot and resume on our website and wanted to know if you would be interested in judging at the national level. And I looked at the national website, and it advertised celebrity judges. And so here I'm thinking, I'm not a celebrity, I'm nobody. Why do they want me? But I called them and talked to them and agreed to do it. And they informed me that if I became a judge at the national level, I could no longer judge in the state of Florida. And so I talked with the national directors, and I became the judging coordinator for that organization here in Florida. So I went about writing a judge's manual, and I used my theater background to bring in the judges. Because I felt if these people are throughout the year competing, supporting the karaoke bars, trying to do something with their talent, whether they're going to nationals and that's going to be their American Idol moment, or whether they want to take it a step further, I wanted to try to help with that. So I brought in, I had one gentleman that was a judge that he performed at the Kennedy Center and ended up being asked to be on the national tour of Phantom of the Opera as the Phantom. I had a gentleman that wrote music for the not Afghanistan, Venezuelan chorale. And they would walk in and see these people's resume, and they're like, are you kidding me? This level of judging talent, and it terrified a lot of them. So we started having pre-meetings with all of the contestants, and I would let them know, these are people just like you. They get up in the morning, put their feet on the ground just like you, put their pants on just like you. Just because they have these resumes doesn't mean they're anything special. It just means they put the work in.
Right.
And so they're going to give you the feedback that you need to go as far as you want. And fortunately, we've had, I believe now we've had a total of 4 contestants that have made it to Hollywood Week on American Idol. We had two gentlemen, three now, that have made it onto the stage for X Factor. And
Yes.
one actually was just the first runner-up, Mackenzie Wheeler, for The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice. Yeah,
Yep.
one was on X Factor, Jeremiah, and then he also was on The Voice. But Mackenzie, I met at Uncle Mike's when we were involved with the KWC.
KWC in Plant City, Uncle
And
Mike's
he
in
was,
Plant
yeah,
City.
and
Yep.
he was too young. And I
Yep.
saw in him the talent. And I talked to his father and I said, I would love to work with him on his stage presence and what to expect in this business. Because right now he's loving doing karaoke, but he
Right.
could go so much further.
Oh, agreed.
And so when I saw that he was on that show, I was so happy.
And you know what's even funnier is if you remember so when you moved on to KWC as state director, gosh, we even had people, what was that gentleman's name that went on to play the genie in the Broadway version of Aladdin?
Oh, Lord, I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was supposed to be in the state final. And
Yes.
I had picked him as the winner. And he had an accident coming across the
Yep.
bridge and
Yep.
was not able to compete. And I believe it was 2 years after that he was cast in the Broadway national tour of
Yep.
Aladdin as the
Of
genie.
Aladdin.
And
And
so
then
that
we also
opportunity
had,
is there.
yeah, we also had Nathaniel Marshall.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Back then, who went on as American Idol. He's now Atlas now.
Okay.
So many amazing kids that were basically on your teams. I mean, throughout the years. I mean, talented folks.
Yeah.
And what I was always so impressed about with you, Trevor, is even from the youngsters, like remember Michaela, she was the fan choice, what
Yeah.
a sweet young lady she was,
Yeah.
all the way up to people that are retired that were such good entertainers. And now, Trevor, I'm in the masters category. I turned 52 in 2 weeks. So your
Wow.
girl, I can now do masters, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. So I'm going to be calling you, I'm sure,
right.
for some tips here. So
Great.
let me ask you this. All of that you've done, and I'm so thrilled that even when KWC, you still do judging for different events and everything that you've gone through. And I mean, all of us, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I love that movie, Mr. Holland's Opus, so much. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But at the end, all of the students that he's ever trained in his orchestra comes back before he retires and they perform for him. And I never hesitate to think of you when I see that movie because, and I know people get sick of it, but it is so true. You have meant so much to so many people. Again, everything that Michael and I do on the ground here in Ohio has truly been from following your example, which was really big shoes to fill, I might add, and I fall so short. But you have made such an impact on everybody's life. And somebody said to me one time, you know, what is it about Trevor? He's just, and I think what it is that we can be in a group of people and you can be surrounded by people, but when you are speaking to a person, you are zoned in on them and you are so genuine, you're so personable, and you truly care about each person, their circumstances. What I was going through in the year that I met you, we turned a negative into a positive. And I'll never forget you saying to me, you said, well, you know what? All of that's still there, but we're going to have a blast in the midst of all of it.
Almost
And we got
definitely.
on that plane
Yeah.
and we had a blast.
Oh yeah.
And you're still judging. How did the pandemic affect you with all of that, all the last few years being involved with Talent Quest, KWC, community theater, directing, all of that? And you know what, I have to say this too. What an amazing friend he is. When Michael and I met, you know, and we wanted to do our ceremony, I wanted my spiritual side, my religion, my faith involved in that, even in the midst of Vince Neil's Las Vegas. And Trevor came, he led the ceremony, he joined us together in our commitment. And, you know, again, I have to say this, not only has he been all of the things that I've described, but we share a faith together with our God. And I think that that's another thing that has made the journey with you, Mr. Keller, something that will last for an eternity.
Forever, forever. During the pandemic was a very rough time for a number of reasons. One of them being my elderly mother. I was concerned about her. I was concerned about everybody being out and in the bars, especially sharing microphones, and what it was going to do. So I was very encouraged to see that many of the karaoke organizations found another outlet, found another way of doing it. So I was blessed to be asked to not only judge nationals digitally, but also to be on the world jury for the United States and be able to judge voices from around the world. And the one thing for me that I just wanted to touch on besides my faith is my integrity. And I've had people tell me what I wanted to hear and what they wanted me to hear, but it wasn't the truth. And for anybody who has ever had me judge them, I may sometimes say something that you don't want to hear, but it's something that you need to hear. It's an honest, constructive, critical comment that you need to work on. And that is so important to me because I've seen so many times where they say, oh, you could be the next American Idol. But yet when they perform, they barely hit one note correctly.
Right. And I will defend that 100%. You know, I'll use me. You have critiqued me, and it has been stuff that I have not wanted anybody to say, but it's always coming from a loving place of wanting me to be even better than I can imagine that I can be. You know, I know that during the pandemic, Corona May came knocking on your door. You fought through it, you overcome it. You've got some side stuff that you've been dealing with. I know been definitely keeping you in our thoughts about that, and definitely will continue to keep you in our thoughts and prayers about that. You know, in closing, I have to say this, you know, your partner, what a fantastic friend he's been as well. Mama, golly, we couldn't have gone to Little Rock without her. And I've got videos somewhere. You remember when the alarms went off at the hotel and we're all down? I've got that somewhere. You know, there's so much more that I could sit and we could talk about. And so having said that, at some point, I would love to have you back again because there's so much that we didn't really delve into. So promise me, I know you're busy, that we'll find some more time and maybe bring you back on and maybe share some photographs and some other stories with everybody. Because if anybody knows how crazy this world is that we all live in, it's you. And I love you so much. I want to say personally, again, thank you for all you've meant to me through the years. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. Guys, he was in an interview the other day with ABC, so we moved it to today. This is a fellow that's got a lot on his schedule, but he's never, ever too busy to spend some time with me and with all of us. And so, Trevor, thank you so much. Love you so much. Look forward to talking to you. You know, I'm going to Florida this coming week, so I hope I can see you while I'm there, okay?
Thank you, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Okay. I love you so much. Tell everybody I said hello, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Love you too. Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye. And just like that, another episode of Backstage is done. Mic drop. Booyah. It was such a great show today. I want to say thank you so much to everybody that came and joined me on Tea Time. Tim and Nicole. Thanks to Whitney for coming on and filling us in what's going on with the genre challenges, you know, and also to my Trevor. Thank you so much for coming on board and supporting me. And you know what? as always, I want to say thank you for watching me. Make sure that you go to WKT Backstage WorldKaraokeTour.com/backstage and subscribe to the channel. Because like I said, I can't do this without you. We want to keep this platform up and running for everybody, and I need your help. So make sure that you do that. And also make sure that you tune in next week, because remember, y'all, we going on the road to the Sunshine State. On the road again. I just can't wait to... Anyway, remember what I always say. All of the amazing performances happen on stage, but all the crazy, kooky, fun stuff, it happens backstage for sure. So make sure you join in and have a great week. I'll see you next week on the road.